I'm here in the Backstage Theatre in Longford, the home of the arts for the Midlands, and I'm here with Mona Considine, who's the Artistic Director for the Backstage Theatre. Mona, thank you very much for joining us today. 2020 was to be the 25th anniversary of the Backstage Theatre, and as we know, through COVID, the theatre wasn't open and we weren't able to put on a lot of shows that had been organised, to recognise that achievement of being 25 years old. It's been a difficult year. Could you just take us through?
Yeah, it certainly has, and I suppose it started off as a great year. We were exceeding our targets at box office. Our audience numbers were well up. We had a fantastic fundraiser in Stars in My Eye, raising much needed funds for the theatre and for projects that we were planning through the course of the year. We had a lot of exciting plans in place for 25th anniversary celebrations, but companies like Druid, Rough Magic booked to come in. So it was really looking like it was going to be one of our best years. And suddenly, and very quickly, the rug was pulled from under our feet. We were, as everyone knows, the arts centres were one of the first places to close, so we were closed within a day. And I suppose that initially it was all about cancelling, rescheduling dates, refunding customers. We handed out thousands and thousands of euros to customers in refunds in the first few weeks of closure, and we're busy trying to reschedule. I suppose at that time we thought this wouldn't be a long period, that we were rescheduling only into another season. But as we all know, that turned out not to be the case. So it was a full year of closure. So I suppose then slowly we adapted to a new way of working with people, a new way of working with artists, a new way of working with audiences, and started to look at online programme. We were very fortunate actually to have young curators working with us at the time for a planned festival programme in the summer, and those young curators worked with me and their mentor Maisie Lee, who's our artist in residence, to adapt that festival into a full week-long online programme in June. So we very quickly had a new programme in place for online projects like Through the Window, for artists to work with residents of nursing homes and to create pieces of theatre online. And also then we, I suppose, melded that with new artist supports, so new ways of providing supports and space for artists to work.
You mentioned some of the top theatre groups in the country that were coming here. I think that's something, it's always on their calendar every year, any of the top theatre groups to come to Longford, and I've been at many of them fantastic Stars in Your Eyes shows. Excellent entertainment. You mentioned about online. Do you see going forward when we do open up, but that some element of that online could be kept going? And you particularly mentioned the nursing homes. I think that was a fantastic initiative, especially for the elderly people that had no visitors over this period.
Yeah, I suppose initially it was kind of a scary prospect because this is a new area for us. It's very technical. We didn't have the expertise, so I suppose I worried about putting work out online. I worried that this would need to be of high quality to show those artists' work in the best way. But it actually worked out well for us, and slowly we're gathering our expertise and our learning in that area. So I suppose I do see, I don't think anything can replace live performance. I just can't wait to get audiences back into the theatre, to see people coming in, to have the buzz of an audience before a show, to hear their reaction after a show. I just think there's nothing can replace that. It's something we really miss, and I see that in the future still being the primary thing that we will do. But there are things that we will hold on to, and those projects where we, create work with artists, where we connect with the community in new ways, in doing that. Like Through the Window project we're delivering again. We did 3 of them last year with residents in nursing home. We're in the middle of doing 3 new ones now with older people living in the community. And it's really a lovely way of working with an artist, but it's also a really nice way to connect with people in your community and tell their stories. So yeah, I think there's probably elements of it that will stay with us, and there might be something of a hybrid programme, especially as we move from COVID, that it'll be gradual and we'll maintain, some of those ways of working as long as we need to anyway, and maybe a little bit of it going forward.
Oh, that's excellent. Over the period, as I say, it's been difficult. You've had to, keep the facility has to be ran. Would you be happy with the supports that were put in place for government, both for the centre and for artists in general over the last 15 months?
Yeah, I think like initially it was slow. Artists struggled a lot in the beginning. A lot of artists are freelance, so they found it hard to access the PUP payment. They weren't able to avail of. They didn't have employment under wage subsidy. They weren't able to avail of those payments. So I think that was very tough for artists, and I think so initially it was a struggle. But I think like the National Campaign for the Arts was really important in highlighting that issue, and I think government responded very well. Initially, the Arts Council were very supportive in assuring us that our funding was secure, and in making sure that there was no cash flow issues, that venues and art centres could access their funds if needed. And that was, I suppose, at a time where we didn't know the wage subsidy would be available to us, but the wage subsidy has been a great support in ensuring that we can continue to employ our staff. But also that means that we're in a position to offer supports to artists because our funds can be, directed in that way. So that's been really important. So yeah, I think, and then there's been grants made available to us to make sure our venue is safe, to make sure that we've all the COVID protocols in place and everything we need to ensure our facilities are providing, all of the directional measures and the screens and everything that a customer would, and it's to ensure that when audiences do return that they feel safe and secure and comfortable in coming into our venue.
As I said, there was a lot of supports put in place and very welcome. Are there any of them supports that you'd like to see continue? I know Minister Martin recently spoke about the possibility of some living wage supports there for people in the entertainment sector, I think, that are in other European countries. Are any of them proposals that you'd like to see put in place?
Yeah, I think something good that came of COVID is that there was more attention, more awareness of the situation that artists are in, because they struggled so much when COVID hit. I think that just brought about more awareness of the precarious nature and career of an artist, be that an actor, a theatre maker, a technician. Work is very sporadic. They don't have a secure, I suppose, job that's 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and I think for a long time there's been a need to recognise that and to provide the supports and make, employment supports more accessible to artists who work in that way, and I think that, definitely, that's an area that should be addressed, and I think the National Campaign for the Arts are really driving that home, and I'd hope that the Minister is listening to their message and will respond.
All right, and as the artistic, director for Longford and the Backstage Theatre, what's your vision of the arts in Longford going forward? Is there infrastructure needs to be put in place, other support mechanisms within the county?
Well, again, we've learned a lot from COVID. I think. I'd like to see more opportunities for people to engage in the arts in Longford, more opportunities to engage with professional artists and, to engage with each other on arts programmes. I think, for us as an arts centre, one of the things I've really enjoyed in the last year is working with artists. So we've increased our residency programme for artists. So we have now, in 2020, we introduced a programme of 9 residencies for artists in Backstage.